Good morning everybody, it's 6:33 and we are just leaving Camp Casey on day 10, our last day on Whidbey Island, heading from Camp Casey and Coupeville to Anacortes to catch the ferry back to Sydney. Camp Casey was nice, if a little Spartan, very close to the Keystone Ferry, so when you come from Port Townsend you literally have 1 mile, if that, half a mile, and you're right there. Just basically 3 or 4 miles and you're in the centre of Coupeville. You can go to all those delicious restaurants there, look around, gift shops, etc. And it's quite a scenic place too, very beautiful. There's a dock you can walk on, and just had about 4 sips of coffee, not really awake. Of course my conscience doesn't want to hear that on the back of the bike. Then you've got to be careful of speed limits here. It takes about an hour, well actually it takes about 45 minutes, 35 minutes if you're Sneaky Pete and you go a little quick. You can make it to the ferry, but I told you before, I always see cops here, so I do tend to abide by the speed limits. They tend to be on the main roads at this time in the morning, so this is being a side road. I'm not too concerned about my 25 here and then going back to a 35. So with that, I probably won't put this back on till we cross Deception Pass, which is a gorgeous bridge. Beautiful. Fog's piling in, just low down. Bike was covered in dew this morning, the first time we've had that. This whole trip I had to wipe it down with a towel. I got some insects all over the towel too from the front of the bike. As you can see, I just wiped a little patch right there, and I'm hoping they don't think it's something a little more gruesome and charge us on the bill there for you know, something else. I couldn't imagine what they might think that was, but it did look a bit ghastly when I put the towel there. I thought maybe I should wash that off a little bit. Don't know if that actually happened because I was too busy doing other things. We'll see. It wasn't oil or anything like that, just bug debris. One of those things you have to do if you've got a bike. The seat was all wet, the tank was wet, the you know, anything that can drip on you or fly on you when you're riding along. Try to improve your comfort. I noticed that your speed didn't show me anything. Maybe it just took a picture. I don't know if you saw it. The cop just whizzing by with his lights on. 6:30 in the morning. Luckily I was just slowing down. He didn't seem to get me. Maybe he was after someone else, but everyone here drives on the speed limit. They're very, very vigilant. You notice you come up behind someone, no one will be pressing you if you're doing, you know, if it's 55, they won't be pressing you to go any faster than that. Cops here are right on it. So 6:51 in the morning, and it's because it's a naval base on this island, it's pretty crowded. This guy in the yellow truck doesn't really want to let anyone by. I think that was a H2S. That's a very fast bike. I think that was the H2S. Let's have a look at it again. Could be, maybe not, I don't know. H2S maybe. I've never seen one, but it kind of looks a bit like it could be. Grumman Intruders. This is Naval Air Station, Whidbey Island, and that's the entrance to it. Beautiful statues, if I say so myself. Always fancied those planes. It used to be low-level ground attack. Now they're flying F-18s, and I think they've got some of the more advanced ones now, Super F-18s and the Raptors, things like that. You probably can't read it, but on the back of this Ford Exploder, as I call them, is a sticker, and it says heading north to Alaska. And it's got his U-Haul van, his trailer. I don't know if he's going to take the ferry with us and go up Vancouver Island, take the ferry from northern Vancouver Island, or if he's going... There is an Alaskan ferry. There is a ferry that actually sails to Alaska from somewhere in the States. I think it's further south than here though, so maybe he's going to go over Deception Pass and then go over the bridge to the mainland and either drive up or take the ferry. Probably drive up, I imagine, on the Alaskan Highway that was built during the Second World War. Very interesting museums up in BC. One of them in a little town, yeah, in Hudson's Hope. There was this museum, and one of the exhibits was these balloons the Japanese actually let go from their island of Japan, and they were bombs, and they looked beautiful. They were sort of lit up and illuminated in little paper balloons, and they would come on over with their little candles inside them and God knows what else, and then they'd come down and explode. They were hoping to start forest fires and kill and maim. This is Deception Pass. I'm going to take a look down there. You can see the current flowing one way. You can see the current, how it's quite a long way down there. Sorry about the sun glaring. Looks like the current is going that way, so it's quite smooth looking that way, but if you look up here, there's starting to be a torrent. Can be pretty treacherous for boats. It gets up to, you know, 10, 11, 12 knots, I believe, in there. And you've got like a 5-minute window to get through if you're on a sailboat. Well worth walking. You can see how narrow these little walkways are, and how little room this guy in front has to play with his trailer. Literally inches either side. Did a good job. Oh great, we've got a porta potty in front of us here. Gotta say, I put the liner in on my jacket this morning because it was 13 Celsius, which is unusually cold for where we've been. And feeling wonderfully warm. Got all my vents at the front closed, the ones at the back are still open, but I'm feeling wonderfully warm, don't feel any wind, any coolness at all. So far I know the range of the jacket's up to about 30. It's tolerable. After that it does start to get, you notice it's, you start looking at the temperature gauge over 30. And that's with the liner out, the vents all open on this Ranger jacket. So far down to 13, and it's been like I wouldn't even know I'm on a bike. It's just I feel warm and it's well shielded. They've got the liner in. The liner zips into the outer jacket, and it also it's a double zipper, so it zips itself up and then you zip the jacket up. And the jacket has kind of a gutter, a flap that it curls over when you button it, and no wind can get in through the zipper because it isolates it. Very well done. I do have one complaint with it, but I won't talk about that until I do the actual full review. Person can't even keep up with a honey pot. Yeah, here's a honey pot. I don't really want to get this guy to get into an accident in front of me and have the contents of that honey pot slathered all over the road so that I could go skidding to my death in a pile of shit. That would be a horrible way to go. Really. What are they going to say on the headstone? The last thing he said was shit. And it was literal. Yeah. My God, yeah. An El Camino towing a shitter. I don't know how much lower it can get. I crack myself up, I really do. Okay, I got another one for this. I mean, you got to keep the punchlines coming, so I'm kind of thinking, what's the last thing you would say, or someone would say, if you had to slid to your death in this person's excrement? Well, one of them might be tough shit. What else can we think out there? Come on, you can come up with comments and post them for me. This guy has an accident, wipes out, the contents of his honey pot goes all over the road, your front tire hits a turd and you're down, and that's it. Lights out for you, boy. What is going on your headstone? Come on, you can think about it. So $53 for a bike and 2 people on this ferry. It's an international ferry and it lasts about 2.5 hours. Still way cheaper than it would be in BC. Hello. Sydney.
Well, we're down lane 9, getting in front of lane 10.
Thank you very much.
Already down there. Just join that group.
Okay, thank you.
You want to stay away from lane 11. Be on the right-hand side of 11. They're going to be clearing that traffic out.
So go down 9, park in front of 10, stay away from 11.
Yeah, be more in front of 9 if there's no room there.
Okay, thank you. Well, Blue Marble Riders, that's the end of a trip. 10 days, Washington and Oregon, all over. Crater Lake, the ultimate destination, and here we are back in Sydney, BC after getting off the Anacortes ferry. Grand total of 3,873.6 kilometers since we left. It was a nice run. We're not finished with ferries yet though. We're going to take the Mill Bay and skip the Malahat and maybe have some lunch, seeing as we left so early this morning we didn't get breakfast. And so my trusty GPS is going to get us there, because I always seem to get confused about which one of these turn-ins it is. There's a couple of new roundabouts, etc. And then I'll also be talking in one video coming up soon on the equipment I took and how we packed and all that sort of stuff and how it worked out and what was useful, what wasn't, etc, etc. Big airplane.
Once again, thanks for watching everyone. If this is the first time you've watched, please consider subscribing. I do product reviews, motorcycle reviews, off-road and on-road vlogs, as well as tours. Don't forget to follow me on social media, that's Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, and to like, and especially, I'm begging you here folks, subscribe. This is the BlueMarbleRider, out.